I have nothing really concrete prepared for this one. I know that's very unprofessional of me, but hey, nobody's watching. I'm not a professional, so no. Um, I am getting a bit of a touch of cold feet. Not just because it's cold as a witch's tits out there. I don't know where that saying comes from. I've heard it around. It seems weird, but it's cold. And cold as hell doesn't make sense to me. Fire and brimstone stuff. But yeah, I'm ranting. I'm getting cold feet. I'm not going to pull out, but I'm getting cold feet. And I think that is an important thing to realize. Because creative people, whether they are experienced or not, whether they are talented or not, whether they are original or not, I'm not saying I am any of those things, mind you, but people who try to create something new rather than just following some kind of beaten path. There is a cold feet element that is avoidable because you're not doing something that you know how to do. And I've been thinking about that a lot for a long time. The whole idea of doing something where you know what to do. And I've been thinking about it, and it's going to affect what I'm going to do both here in the December, or I don't know if you want to call it the Christmas challenge or the December challenge. I don't know, doesn't matter. But I've been thinking a lot about the concept of recipes, and as we move into the challenge and I start talking about the idea of what I want to make, that is going to make a whole different level of sense. But the notion of recipes has been, oh my god, I have not yawned since I did these videos last. I only yawn when I do these videos. That's weird. But yeah, recipes, the concept has been weighing really heavy in my mind because I think that some of the more daunting elements, and for that matter, some of the more uncertain elements, daunting being what you're afraid of, and uncertain being the things that are likely to fail, or have a better chance of failing at least, rely on whether or not you have some kind of instructions to follow. So, can you actually make creativity a recipe thing? Can you make recipes for creativity? And now, why have I been thinking about that for a long time? Why I've been thinking about it lately will make sense when I start on the challenge because of what I've decided to focus on. But the reason why I've been thinking about it for a long time is that I think I've mentioned it before, but I have run courses on, I don't want to call them seminars, but I've run courses on creative writing, and I have followed a lot of creating creative writing courses online, and they vary greatly in quality, mind you. But I follow a lot of them, and there is this idea of creativity being something abstract and instinctively human, or creativity being something you can learn. And I think that something needs to be done on like a larger scale about the whole something you can learn aspect of it. Because right now it seems that everybody is, or at least the vocal majority, is very content to just assume that it's something you need to have a talent for, and that originality is something ethereal, something that comes from, I don't know, somewhere beyond the mortal plane or something like that. The muses, as they called them in the old world. And that just does not work well if the goal is to create a creative culture. You cannot create a culture where you depend entirely on the needed people, the creatives, to appear out of sheer luck. And I know it's a controversial topic because people will start to talk about, oh, but if you learn how to do it, it will be formulaic and it will be tiresome. There is the saying, I think I've mentioned this before too, that creativity is 1% inspiration and 99% perspiration, meaning that a very tiny part of creativity is the idea, and a very large part of it is the hard work that goes into turning that idea into something concrete. Ideas are a dime a dozen, but you need to put the hard work into it to make that idea matter. And the thing is, the idea you can discuss from now and until the cows come home whether that can be learned. But the hard work, the perspiration, the 99%, that can be learned. And the question is, can it be learned in a way so sharp and crystal clear that you are not so much talking about a skill as you are a recipe? Mind you, even the best chefs, even the Gordon Ramsays and whoever is out there. I don't know that many chef range. Chef Boyardee. I'm not sure if that's an actual chef or just some kind of brand name. The Swedish Cook, whatever. But even the best chefs out there, the 4 Michelin star kitchen maestros, they have recipes. And their recipes usually get made by understanding other recipes. And by understanding a lot about ingredients and cooking methods and so on. But recipes usually do not just pop out fully formed. They are based on other recipes that are changed and mutilated, I want to say. It didn't sound as crude in my head as it did when I said it out loud. But yeah, recipes are used in every field, including fields considered creative. And a lot of recipe work is pure repetition. You don't need to invent a new way to, I don't know, whip the whipped cream just because you want to make a new dish. You'll still be doing that the old fashioned way unless you have a very good reason not to. You don't have to invent a new way to make bread just to make bread um, a part of a dish. You can use recipes that are already there. Everything is basically built from things that already exist. Originality, creativity, and so on comes from tiny little tweaks and twists, most of the time at least. Sometimes someone just throws the entire textbook out the window and goes completely experimental, but a lot of the stuff, at least a lot of the stuff that finds an audience, that finds um, someone who likes it, is built on existing recipes that have been tweaked, or maybe that haven't even been tweaked at all. Maybe it's just the normal recipe um, executed in a slightly different way. Maybe the recipe doesn't need to be tweaked. Maybe it's all a garnish. Maybe it's all just how you glaze the cake. So recipes have been on my mind, and the question I'm pondering when it gets really late. It's not very late now. It's still just it gets really dark really fast. It was like this somewhere between 4 and 5 o'clock. It's later now, but it's not in the middle of the night, although it looks like it. But yeah, can recipes be designed on a major scale without sacrificing quality? If I'm going to create something as broad as a fictional universe, I cannot reinvent the wheel at every turn. What I need to do is find a way to make recipes for making recipes. And I've already talked about that in a previous video. But now I'm going to try to turn it into reality. And that puts me in a weird spot in regards to those cold feet. Because I'm basically getting cold feet because I'm trying to create something, recipes to create recipes, that will prevent me from getting cold feet. I'm getting cold feet because I'm going out to get the slippers so I don't get cold feet. And it's a weird sensation, to say the least. And I just realized how much the other end of the room is reflecting in the window. But now I'm starting to yawn again, so I should probably end this. But yeah, I've got cold feet about tomorrow. Let's see what happens.